You only need 3,000 views to go full-time on YouTube.
That's bullshit. You can do it in less. And in this video, I'm gonna prove it to you. With examples of full-time creators making money from small views, I'm gonna show you what actually matters when it comes to making money from YouTube, a simple system to work out when you can go full-time, and I'm gonna give you the easiest ways to get there faster.
But first, what's likely to happen when you do make that terrifying leap to full-time? Well, there's a pattern that I see time and time again from YouTubers who quit their jobs, and to show you what it is, I called up Anthony, a creator who went from full-time at the end of December 2022, to quickly explain the reality of making the jump. How did you make the decision to go full-time?
December of 22 and January of 23 were like the 2 months where I looked at my numbers and I was like, yo, I'm making like almost 3 times as much as I'm making at my full-time doing this part-time. So the thought started to come into my mind. So my wife approached me and she's like, you know what? I'm really at peace if you went full-time. So when she said that, I was like, wait, what do you mean full-time? Like I need a year. And I had to really like sit back and think about why I didn't want to go full time. And what it summed up to was that I was really afraid. And the fear that I had was that basically if I fail and I'm doing it part time, I at least have that excuse, right? Like, well, it was only my half-time thing. By quitting your job and going all in, like the stakes are so much higher. If I fail, it's because I wasn't good enough. So I looked at that and I was like, if that's really the only reason why I'm not going to do this full time, then that's a terrible reason and I want to do it now.
From going from part-time to full-time, what positive impacts did that have on the income and the channel?
It was the opportunities is what really opened up. Because when I was doing it part-time, there would be so many relationships and things that I was developing that I really couldn't do anything about. There would be like barbecue joints like, hey, come on down. And it's like, realistically speaking, I'm a dad, you know, I'm a husband, I'm very active in my church. I barely have enough time to do a YouTube video. Like having that availability like really just opened up so many doors. Like if I was not full-time right now, like I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now, basically.
Are you working less now you are a full-time YouTube creator?
Heck no, way more. Like I tell this to like everybody. It's like I probably work like 60 to 70 hours a week. Like every Sunday, I'm like, I can't wait to work tomorrow. Like I'm like already thinking about ideas, and sometimes I even like squeeze in work like Sunday night. I'm like, oh, let me just do this thing really quickly. To me now, like work is such a positive thing.
So how many views do you actually need to go full-time on YouTube? And do views even matter at all? Well, of course they matter. The thing is, there is something that's equally as important. When you get this right, the views you need to make money decrease significantly. To show you what that is, I want you to check out Daniel's channel, Dark Lab Music. So you see those numbers? They are generating hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And they do that because Daniel follows the holy trinity of monetization, which I'm going to explain to you now. So the first part of the monetization trinity requires you to lose your ego and to stop trying to become internet famous. Daniel is in the music production niche, which has potential for massive views, but instead of becoming another channel who's trying to help people make better songs, he's niched down by making his channel all about trying to help producers build their businesses. And what I love about this is, although the niche is smaller, the problem size is actually much bigger. I mean, when people wake up in the morning, they think about how they're going to pay their bills. They don't wake up and think,
oh, I wish I could figure out how to get more reverb on the bass.
And the bigger the pain, the easier it is to make money, so long as you have the second part of the trinity. So it would be no good Daniel teaching people if he hadn't already done it himself or had helped a lot of others do it. The truth is, if you have expertise, it's pretty flipping obvious to your viewers that you do, because your videos will be highly useful to them. And the more value you give them in a specific area of their life they have a problem with, and the more they use your free information, the more they'll trust you and the more likely they'll be to buy from you, so long as the third part of the trinity is in place, and that is this: creating an amazing offer. Which brings us on to a problem. How do you know what offer to make to complete the trinity so you can go full time? Well, in order to know that, you need to work out the offer that works best for you and your viewers. So I've built you a simple system to help establish that. And the first step is to simply work out how much money you need to go full time. So to do that, all you do is you add up all your monthly expenses, such as mortgage, rent, utility bills, whatever you have, and put that in the bare minimum column. Then fill out the second column, which is all about how much money your channel is making right now. This is zero, don't panic. Let's say the channel needs to make $5,000 a month, and you've got $500 in ad revenue, $200 in affiliate, so you need to make up another $4,300. Now we have a goal to aim for, so we can work backwards from it to find out what the best offer might be to hit it. So before I give you 3 powerful options to do that, let me give you some rules to follow that will avoid you making the common mistake that wreck this for people who are new to this. Rule number 1. Rule number 1 will make it easier for you to make a product and also easier for your viewers to buy it too. And you do that by ignoring big complex marketing campaigns and products with all kinds of different options for people, and you just keep everything as simple as you possibly can and create something that solves one big problem. The second rule is to work out what that one big problem is. But how? Well, a simple place to start is just by researching your competition's offers and the highest performing videos in your niche to get an idea of what big pain points there are you can target. Rule number 3 will require you to do things in the way you can rather than the best possible way so that you actually build a product. And my first ever product took this approach. It was a super simple animation pack, had a checkout page, and once people bought it, it just emailed them a link to a G drive to download it. I didn't even lock the drive. Anyone could have accessed it with the link because at the time I couldn't find a simple and cheap solution to do that. So I just went for the minimum viable tech, and you know what? It worked fine. The more software you have to learn and things that you have to build to sell your offer, the more friction will occur and the more likely you are to get overwhelmed and give in. Over time, as you get more experience, you can break these rules or bend them, but to start, just stick to them to avoid overwhelm, and then you'll get a result. Bring us on to the offers that can get you to full-time in the simplest way by solving the biggest problem for viewers with the least possible setup going. I've got 3 for you. I've used all of them myself on other businesses too, and they will get many of you to $10,000 a month, no problem. The first one requires one piece of software to use, and the demand for these items is actually very high. What you do is you find a really simple way to solve viewers' problems in an actionable way. For example, that could be a Notion planner for tracking how much food people eat so they can stay on top of their diet. Or it could be a budgeting spreadsheet, or even just a graphic or a template to help people with creative tasks. What's great is when people use these and get results, your credibility explodes in their eyes too, which means they're gonna be more likely to come back. People usually price these between like $10 and $149. But how do you sell them? Well, there's lots of software, but I'm gonna recommend you use the same solution for each of these products I'm about to show you, so I'm going to talk more about that at the end because it's got another powerful little trick up its sleeve too. So how do you get to the amount you need to go full-time with this offer? Well, if you're selling them at $50 a pop and you need to make up $4,300, then you need to sell 83 a month. And I'm going to show you the simplest way to do that in a minute. Then we have option 2, which is easy to set up and profitable and has very few downsides, so it'd be smart to set this up alongside your digital assets as well. Here, you simply set up a calendar people book in and pay for an hour of your time, and you can charge anything from $150 to $10,000 for these. At $150, you need to sell 23 a month to make up your amount, and they're not that hard to sell. And every video you make, some viewers will still have questions, so they can fly off the shelf every time you post. And then the final option is also very simple. Here, you create an easy to complete information product, and I call them video workshops. A few years ago, my first one made me $7,000 in the first few weeks, and I didn't really have that big a following at the time. And recently, I put a small group of creators through a system to build their own, and it generated them between $980 and $36,000 in their first 7 days of launch. All you do is you find a problem and then make a presentation on how to fix for it. You then sell it as a live event and record it, and then sell the recording on demand. Or you just make it on demand from the start. It's a deep dive people can complete to solve a problem they have, not a gigantic course, which means you can make these in a few days, and they sell from around $49 to $249. If you sold 87 a month, you'd hit that amount needed to make your full-time goal. But actually, there is more at play here, because you don't actually need to sell 87. You can sell less and still go full-time by teaming up consulting with your product. So let's say you sold one-to-one calls at 150. You only need to sell 14 a month, and then around 43 workshops when you combine. Really what matters if you want to go full-time is that you find the simplest way to launch a product so that you have full control over your earnings and can build a client pool. Because anyone who buys consulting is then a great candidate for your workshop. So you can sell it on the call or the other way around too, which will increase your lifetime value of that viewer. Then if you do launch something new, it's likely the client pool will be the first people to come in and buy from you, which is how over time revenue can explode. But how do you promote these options, and what software is going to make this really simple to set it up for you? Well, firstly, if it's a low ticket item or even a consulting call, making the product link your main channel link makes a lot of sense because people do come to this page to scope you out. I would argue that putting a link for people to sign up to your email list here is probably the best long-term option, but that's going to depend on the individual. And then you want to make your description below every video super simple and just like this. Stop promoting Instagram and all your social media pages. Nobody wants to leave YouTube to go and check out your Snapchat you've not posted to for 2 years, and it will clutter and distract people from what you want them to click on, and that will impact sales. Then just write a simple call to action to encourage people to learn more by clicking on it, and then flip and mention it in your videos. You can't hide these if you want to go full time. And then if it's a digital asset, just use the flipping thing in your content. You can create a really highly educational promo that shows people how to use it, and then just say,
Look, buy it below.
or if you're selling consulting, just say things like,
On one-to-one calls with my clients, I often find they struggle with this.
before you unload some information. You can also promote these things on your community wall too. Just put a 1080 by 1080 image that grabs attention and then set up the problem your product solves and unpack how it solves it and then just leave a call to action. Community wall is very powerful. But how do you set up all of these options so you can sell them easily? Well, I'm not sponsored by these guys, but for people new to this, I really think it's important to keep software as simple as possible. So there's one I'd suggest checking out because it enables you to sell all of these options and it has one massive benefit, which you also need to get a big result. And that is to build an email list too, so you can promote your products off of YouTube. And this is the fastest and best way to make money to go full time. The software that enables you to do all of this stuff is called ConvertKit. It's got simple options to help you sell digital products, consulting calls, and if you sell a video workshop, you can combine it with the free version of Thinkific, a course platform that I use to sell your first product for free. But to really explode your sales and go full-time faster, you need to grow your email list. So watch this video next, my ultimate guide to blowing up your email.